Happy Friday, Notre Dame fans. This is Mike Singer from blueandgold.com with Mason Plummer. We are talking about Notre Dame football recruiting like we do on every Friday with our weekly recruiting wrap. Dive into some hot topics here that have developed this week. Go ahead and hit the thumbs up button on this video. And if you're not subscribed to our channel here, then what are you doing? Mason, what are they doing if they're not subscribed to our channel?
I know. I've been telling people, man. We're almost hitting 8,000. Let's do it.
All right, let's get right into the weekly recruiting wrap.
All right, Mike. Notre Dame's in a good position for a lot of 2022 corners and defensive backs in general, really. In great position for Jaden Mickey. He dropped his top 4 this past week, included Notre Dame. Looks like you got a future cast pick in for Mickey. Tell us what you're hearing there.
Yeah, top 4 of Cal, Notre Dame, Northwestern, and Oregon. And I don't think Jaden Mickey's playing games here. I think he's narrowed it down to this group and is looking to move on one of these schools. I think it's a Notre Dame Oregon battle. Like you said, Mason got the future cast pick in for the Fighting Irish. If Notre Dame does win this recruitment, it's a nice solid start to the defensive back class in 2022. It's the one position other than a specialist that Notre Dame didn't have a commitment from. So to start it with a 4-star prospect, a guy who was actually recently bumped from 3-star to 4-star in this past Rivals rankings update. And he did that without playing a fall season. California is going to be playing spring ball here and didn't have a fall season until 2019. So a guy who was still able to move up the rankings, number 35 cornerback in the country, number 20 player in the state of California. So again, this would be a nice get. Track times are impressive. 40-yard dash is good. A lockdown corner that, and I know his face here is a little old. It's an older baby picture, but trust me, this kid is a baller. Notre Dame's Brian Polian, Mike Mickens, Marcus Freeman, all these guys are involved in the recruitment, and again, like Notre Dame to win it.
So, Mike, I have a question for you as far as cornerback recruiting in general here, along with Mickey. Is the Notre Dame staff only pursuing corners with the first name Jaden? Can you confirm?
I can confirm. You have Jaden Gould at Oradell Bergen Catholic in New Jersey. Jaden Bellamy from the same high school as Gould. You have Jaden Mickey here. I think there's another Jaden probably. So yeah, you honestly, I could see them having 3 Jadens all in the same position. That would be pretty wild. Would have to ask Loose Emoji if that's ever happened before. On Tuesday, in our Pod Like a Champion podcast, we highlighted Josh Burnham as a player who could be next to commit to Notre Dame. And then, lo and behold, he tweets out that he will be announcing his commitment on his birthday, which just happens to be St. Patrick's Day. And I would feel like that's probably a good omen for Notre Dame.
Yeah, it'd definitely be a heartbreaker. Starting to really look like this is a Notre Dame lean here. And then if he was to commit elsewhere, it looks like Notre Dame, Michigan here. If he was to commit elsewhere on St. Patrick's Day, on his birthday, that'd be tough. But it looks like reading some what Michigan writers have been writing recently, it looks like they're just conceding this one straight up, not even trying to act like this is like a real battle. It looks like Notre Dame's taken a really firm grip, a really firm lead here. And it looks like all signs are pointing towards Notre Dame landing at the inside linebacker Joshua Burnham, pulling him out of Traverse City. Mike, you want to pronounce that correctly this time?
No. Just stay away from it. Yeah, I mean, you talk about if Notre Dame does win this one on Wednesday, some of the players that they've gone into the state of Michigan and pulled out of there. Nolan Ziggler, a guy that, yeah, I mean, he's got all sorts of Notre Dame connections, but he had Michigan connections too in Grand Rapids. You know, he had family that had played for the Wolverines. A guy named Rocco Spindler, Notre Dame went and stole him right out of the Michigan's backyard. So, look, and I could talk about someone like Ryan Barnes, like different little Notre Dame recruiting wins over Michigan here and there, but this would be 3 in the past, 9 months or so of recruits that Notre Dame went into Michigan territory and guys that they really wanted, especially Burnham, especially Spindler. That's got to sting Michigan.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Those are two big time targets Michigan could really use in positions of need. I think looking at the team that they're kind of building over there with Harbaugh, but credit to Notre Dame and their recruiting staff really pulling these two out. And I think both Burnham and Spindler, the two guys you mentioned as their really big wins, have the potential to be really good impact players at Notre Dame.
Yeah, Burnham's a player. 6'3", 200 pounds, ranked as the number 141 player in the country, number 5 inside linebacker, number 3 player in his home state. Honestly, if inside linebacker doesn't work out, he can rush off the edge. If that doesn't work out, he's a really good H-back and maybe a goal line wildcat quarterback. I'm not even messing around. Like, he looks really athletic on film. 30-minute highlight tape.
Mike, Notre Dame's been hot on the trail of a lot of different positions. It seems like we haven't talked about offensive line in a while. Kind of tell me where things stand here. Let everybody know top Notre Dame targets, kind of where they stand there.
Yeah, so Notre Dame already has commitments from Tai Chan, young man from Massachusetts, ranked as a Rivals 250 prospect, right around number 30 offensive tackle in the country. That's a solid get with high upside. A big Tai Chan guy. Joey Tanona, another 4-star Rivals 250 guy, an interior player from Notre Dame's backyard, Zionsville, Indiana. So from there, it looks like Notre Dame's going to take 2 more offensive linemen, and the one guy, Mason, I feel like we've been talking about so
Yeah.
much for so long, is Billy Schrouth from St. Mary's Springs in Wisconsin. Number 2 guard in the country. Really just one of the most impressive interior high school linemen you'll see. And he's great on the defensive side of the ball. Reminds me some of Rocco Spindler, who we just talked about, as an interior two-way player who excels. Still like Notre Dame in this recruitment. Wisconsin is certainly a threat, but I think Notre Dame is still going to win this one. So you add Schrouth, you have 2 interior guys. You're likely going to take one more. Of course, numbers are subject to change. Maybe Notre Dame would just stick at 3. Maybe they could go to 5. But right now, I'm going to say it's 4. So who you're looking at next? There's really 3 names that I'm going to take a look at here. Another Wisconsin guy in Joe Brunner. Whitefish Bay, Wisconsin, 6'6", 305 pounds, number 58 overall player in the country, number 9 tackle. This is a big-time target for Notre Dame. Not someone we talk about a lot. Joe Brunner is I don't know the last time he's done an interview, so he's kind of stayed off the radar, but Notre Dame's had good contact with him. Emile Wagner from Marcus Freeman and Mike Mickens High School, Huber Heights, Ohio Wayne, Stanford, Ohio State, Kentucky, Notre Dame seem to be the top 4 schools here. Probably Ohio State is the team out in front, Mason, they offered this week. Ohio State just kind of gets who they want, honestly, on the recruiting front. They've been recruiting at such a high level, especially in state. You would probably like the Buckeyes here. Jake Taylor, another guy to talk about, a 4-star prospect. Notre Dame, Alabama, Oklahoma, top 3. I put in a future cast pick. When would that have been? Back in December, for him to land at Notre Dame. Leaving it on there. Still not super confident in it, though. Alabama's another program who gets who they want. But Oklahoma is a school that has really impressed him. We talked about numbers. Would they take 4? Would they take 5? Could it be 3? I think it's more 4 to maybe 5. Carson Hinsman is the guy I feel like Notre Dame might end up with in this class. He is the nation's top center. Notre Dame has been looking him at as an interior player. Some schools are still even talking about tackle. He's one of these guys like a Josh Lugg who can play anywhere on the offensive line. But he is an impressive player. He and Joe Brunner were Notre Dame's first 2 offensive line offers in this 2022 class. They were both on campus in November of 2019, received the offer during the same visit. So Notre Dame hasn't landed they haven't landed a player from Wisconsin in 20 years, which every time I say that, I'm like, there's got to be someone that I'm not thinking of, but no one can like say, hey, Mike, no, this guy Notre Dame got in like 2006 or 2008 or 2012. Nothing. I think it's 2001 the last time Notre Dame pulled a player out of Wisconsin, and it's not super far fetched to say that Notre Dame could go get Carson Hinsman, Joe Brunner, and Billy Schrauth, all big-time four-star players ranked inside Rivals, top 120 players nationally, and beat out the Badgers for all of these guys. Like, there's a reason Notre Dame doesn't go and get all these players from Wisconsin, because those guys play for the Badgers. So this would be another nice get if Notre Dame gets Carson Hensman.
So I'm curious, I'm not going to ask you to rank them, but who's your number one? Who do you feel best about from that group, that you feel best about Notre Dame landing?
That's a great question. Schrauth is the easy one. I felt good about where Notre Dame's at since last summer. Could he be having second thoughts? Like, if he's been this like big Notre Dame lean since the summer, like, what's he waiting for? Valid questions I don't have answers to right now, but from folks I talk to, still like where Notre Dame's at. And then the guy I might go to next is Carson Hinsman. And I think like people might be surprised when I say that, but I think Notre Dame has put themselves into really strong position here to pull off an upset over Wisconsin. That's going to do it for this week's recruiting wrap. Appreciate you guys joining us and sticking around to the end of this video. Make sure you hit the thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, check out more of our videos. Go to blueandgold.com for more coverage. Check out our podcast, check out our Twitter, do everything. We're everywhere, guys. Appreciate you guys. Have a great weekend.